Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time and listening to this little mini Q&A, or ask the trainer as you will. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Zach. I'm a certified strength conditioning coach. I work at the Textron facility here in Providence, so I know this is going to be streamed for the company nationwide. So I just kind of want to do that quick little introduction. So what I'm going to be going over today is primarily heart rate zones based on your age and just different types and intensities of exercises and outdoor when you want, where you want your heart rate to be during that activity. Um, it is July, and we're trying to work primarily with get outside and the benefits of being outside. And we're going to be releasing these mini videos throughout the whole month. Hopefully, you find them informative, and let me know what you think, honestly. So we'll jump right into some of these questions. And the first part that we need to get out of the way, and I kind of have this little word sheet up so you can kind of visualize as I speak my way through this. What you want to think about is something called your age predicted max heart rate, which is going to be abbreviated in this sheet as MHR. It's a very simple calculation that anyone could do in a quick second. It is 220 minus your age is your age predicted max heart rate. Okay, so this is a very general, it's good for a basic understanding as to where you want to be based on your goal. However, it doesn't take a lot of other factors into consideration, such as your gender. I refer a lot to something called your training age. So you may be 50 years old, but you've only been exercising for a year. So you only have a 1 year training age. The different body size or body type and different medications or ailments that you may have. So a lot of those aren't taken into this general calculation, but it's a very good generalized way to look at tracking your heart rate. A lot of you have different ways of tracking your heart rate, whether you just go on perceived exertion, or you have some type of Fitbit or Apple Watch that's going to tell you your heart rate, or if you are exercising inside, so we can relate to throughout the whole year. If you're on a treadmill, elliptical, anything like that, they do have the little electrodes that you can grab onto, and it will read you your heart rate. So now we'll jump into the different zones. So your first zone, you could visualize this right here, is 50% to 60% of that age predicted max heart rate. So you all probably were able to do that really quick math in your head. Now you can relate this to yourself. So this zone is primarily, you want to look at your warm-up zone. So you've been sitting at your desk all day or doing general activities. Now you want to move into an exercise bout that's outside. So this is where you want to achieve that heart rate. And recovery zone. So after your workout, you're trying to bring your heart rate back down to a normal basic level. So if we scroll down to the bottom, if someone's 30 years old, 220 minus their age being 30, we have 190 as their age predicted max heart rate. So in zone 1, they're going to want to be between 95 and 115. So you want your heart rate to elevate up to that 95 to 114 in order to begin your exercise, and vice versa. If you're in the middle of your exercise and your heart rate's at 150, your cool down, your recovery time is used to get that heart rate back down into that zone. Moving on to the next zone, which is 60 to 70% of that max heart rate, is when we move into more of long distance running or intermediate distance running. So this is your aerobic zone, primarily a fat burning zone. So once again, taking that individual that may be 30 years old, this is going to be between 114 and 133 heart rate. So you want to think of maybe a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon. Even resistance training is typically going to be in this zone along with zone 3. So if you're doing some body weight or lightweight resistance training outside, this is the zone you're going to be in. The next one, zone 3, which is 70 to 80% of that max heart rate. This is your threshold zone. I won't get into that too much. We want to keep this short and sweet and fairly basic. This is moving out of that aerobic fat burning zone, and we're really elevating that heart rate. So maybe it's heavy lifting or a shorter run like a 5K or mini sprints. There's a bunch of different fartlek training, Tabata training, high intensity interval training can start to happen at this zone. But this is for zone 3. Once again, that 30-year individual is going to be between, a little typo there, 133 to 152 heart rate. Okay, so now we're really starting to elevate that heart rate. We're really going to start to perspire at this point would be my guess. So the next zone being zone 4, we're going in increments of 10. So 80 to 90% of that age predicted max heart rate. This is the lactate threshold zone. The workouts get very challenging. So now we're really talking about those high intensity interval training, which I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but high intensity interval training is 3-to-1 work to rest ratio. Tabata, which is more the previous zone, is a 2-to-1. So as you can see, different intensities and different types of exercise are going to break you into different exercise zones. So once again, going back to this 30-year-old individual, 152 to 171 heart rate. So we're really getting that heart rate up there. Once again, this is all relative to your age and your training age. If you have a lower training age, say 5 and under, then you almost want to decrease all these heart rates, maybe 5 to 10, and vice versa. If you have a very experienced training age, then you can adjust these accordingly. As I said earlier, first of all, exercise at your own risk. This is your disclaimer. But, this is all relative to your training age, your gender, your general age, any medications or any ailments that you may have as well. So the last zone that we want to get into is zone 5, which is the highest zone. This is 90 to 100% of the age predicted max heart rate. This is maximum anaerobic zone. Anaerobic meaning not with oxygen, aerobic meaning with oxygen. This is where we get into those sprints. Typically only lasts a few seconds. Once again, if you have the higher training age, maybe a few minutes. This is where we go 171 heart rate to 190. Okay, so we're reaching those maximal heart rates. If you are in peak physical condition, you have a very experienced training age, you may be able to hit higher than this heart rate, but I wouldn't try to achieve too much more, especially if you're exercising in heat. And that relates to us being outside and that sun's beaming on us, humidity. Try not to exceed that. Now, since we're on this little theme, if you aren't exercising in what you think is a zone 4, zone 5, say you're just going for a little walk or doing a warm-up cool down and you're in zone 5, okay, this would be time to seek out a professional, whether it's at your fitness facility, if you have a gym inside your workplace, or if you're at a commercial gym or a box gym or a mom pop gym, or you're doing an outdoor workout with a trainer, please let them know. Okay, there may be something that we need to do. You just need to seek assistance, so to say. Okay, so that's, now that you have a good idea of your heart rate zones, next question I want to answer is, how do I monitor heart rate to burn fat? Because that is kind of the primary goal of a majority of members and clientele that we see out there. Zones 1 and 2, you primarily use fat as your fuel. Zones 3 to 5, so the higher heart rate, you're going to be burning carbs because the sugar from your muscles and liver are being used as fuel. Now, those 3 and 5 heart rate zones, okay, are going to be, more of burning your fat. Sorry, let's just back up. The lower ones, so the lower heart rate, where it's typically going to be a longer distance, longer duration, are going to be more of burning that fat. Okay. Now, and carbs. How can I use this to assess proper warm-ups and cool downs? So we kind of already covered this. I mean, that zone 1 is where you're going to want to be for your warm-ups and your cool downs. So think of it as you're going up a roller coaster, right? So your heart rate's at 60 resting in the office, and you want to get it up to working capacity, which is going to be that heart rate zone 1, so 114. 60, you're trying to get up to 114. Okay, then you have your workout. It should maybe elevate a little bit more. Okay, then it's going to come back down during that recovery. So say it gets up to 140 during the workout. You're going to do that recovery, that cool down, in order to drop it back down into that heart rate zone of 1. That is somewhere between the 95 to 114, again, based on your age. So that's the easy way to look at it, is that heart rate zone is your warm up and your cool down. Pretty simple, right? So the last one that we want to go to is just the different types of outdoor exercise that you can do, and basically where your heart rate is going to be, typically should be during that modality of exercise. So the first one we're going to go is walking. If you're just walking outside, inside, whatever it is, primarily outside is what we're hoping. There's many benefits of the outdoor activity as opposed to the inside. You're going to be in zone 1 or 2. Okay, so 50 to 70% of that age predicted max heart rate. Also in zone 1 and 2 is going to be if you're doing yoga outside, breathing techniques outside, stretching, active recovery, static stretching, dynamic stretching, foam rolling, mobility drills. That's all going to be in that zone 1 and 2. The next area that we want to get to is long distance running and resistance training. That's going to be anywhere from zone 1 to 3, which is your carb and your fat burning. Okay. And then the last one that we get to is sprints. Maybe you are lifting weights outside, but a heavy load. Then you're going to be in 4 to 5. Sprints, hill running, high intensity interval training. This is your fat burning. Okay. And I will own my mistakes, and I want to make sure that I said this correctly, as I have a lot going on in my head. Your high heart rate, fast bursts is fat burning. Okay. Your longer distance with a little bit lower heart rate, longer duration, is more of carb burning. Okay. I hope I got that right earlier. If I didn't, then I'm correcting it right now. And before I have anyone telling me that I was wrong, I want to make sure I correct that in case it was. But so that's your very quick, very broad general summary of different heart rate zones and where they want to be based on the intensity and the type of exercise you're doing. I want to reiterate 2 things. That first of all, please get a doctor's note before exercising outside or exercising at anything over a heart rate 2 or 3 zone. Okay. And the other part is if you find that your heart rate is much, much higher than I'm kind of depicting for you here as far as your percentages goes, then please seek out whether it's a medical professional, meaning your PCP, your doctor, or maybe someone that's even in your group or around that is a medical professional, or someone like myself, a health and wellness professional that is experienced in this type of atmosphere. It could be something as simple as, you are just deconditioned, and we need to, build that up, because as you do aerobic exercise outside, you're strengthening your heart, which is a muscle. Okay. So that's going to get better over time. The other thing that could be is, we could have a chronic or a significant health issue that we need to diagnose and assess right now to prevent any further injury or ailment. So that is your quick little Q&A and Ask the Trainer. Once again, for those that don't know me, I'm Zach, stationed here in Providence, Rhode Island. We'll be doing little installments of these videos along with a bunch of content further throughout the month. Get outside and exercise. Please do it at your own risk and consult a professional for any additional advice that you may have. So thank you again for watching, and exercise safely.